Let's stay in the province and bring in now Vincent Ngubane, who's the head of disaster management in eThekwini. Vincent joins us via our telephone line, and it's great to have you on the program, sir. We are seeing, as of this morning, conflicting reports around how many people are still missing. More importantly, how many of them have also died. Are you able to give us a consolidated figure from the work you've been able to do around the casualties from this latest floods?
Good morning, Ayanda, and morning to the listeners at large. So far there are no people that has been reported missing, but there is an alleged 3 people that were found dead along the river at the area called the Seme at Inanda. Upon police investigation, they were found with the gunshot wounds. So the suspicion is that they were not flood related, but the police will confirm that during the course of the day. But there have been a number of people that has been rescued, particularly in the north and maybe few around the south. The one in particular in the south, that was in Lamontville, in the area called Days. There were people that were occupied there. There were but almost close to 200 of them. The hall got flooded, and we have to do an emergency to rescue them to a hall that is close by. That operation was done successfully, and unfortunately all the clothes and their belongings were just gone wet, but we managed to give them a new relief. In the north, particularly at Mhloti, firstly in Westbrook, there were the old age home where about 40 people were rescued from there. Thanks to our colleague on search and rescue, Metropolis, SAPS, even our colleagues in the army as well were part and parcel of this rescue operation. They were rescued them, and they were put in a safe place in Tongat. As of yesterday, the majority of them, there is this thing with the elders that my staff, they will always go and check them. So they all went back in safe to check their stuff. There's also another rescue operation which took place at the called Bellamont Surf Flats. The family there were trapped, and the car were also about to be washed away, but they were all rescued with the help of our search and rescue guys, Metropolis, SAPS, our community people as well, which were also active in the area, including the armies as well. 9 people were rescued at the Bellamont flat, and they were taken to their relatives, and they were safe. But I must mention Mhloti area, partly Lamesi, Heights, and on top of the Westbrook, they were hardly hit by this torrential rain.
Right. I want to just take us back to something you mentioned in the initial part of your response there, Vincent. Did you say that in the south, a hall had to be evacuated because it had been affected by these floods? Is that a hall that was accommodating flood victims?
Yeah, it was a hall that is located at Days. When you enter Umlazi got one main entrance, which is by Mega City. Days is just located close to Mega City shopping mall. That hall was flooded. All yes. People that were accommodated in that, they had to be evacuated.
So essentially those are people who were initially in their homes, were placed in this hall, and because of how devastating the floods were in that hall, had to be moved again.
That's correct.
Sure. That's really devastating, quite disruptive. We're also seeing, that several areas were harder hit. From your reading of the situation, what do people in those areas need the most?
The major problem is the basics. The basics when I'm talking about water and electricity. Some of the areas that they got hit, they got affected with water. We're just grappling with the impact of the April storm. And the city were getting ready to restore the service delivery in terms of water and electricity. It will seem now that we will go back to square one to start from where where the damages are. Other than that, is the roads of which are problematic with the debris. Some are still flooded. They can't go through. On the north, M4, which is the main artillery road to link the north and to the south, which is the route first highway. That one around the Lamesi and the Sea Heights then is blocked, cannot be accessed. Then going down to the south, the M4 as well, still portion of M4 is still closed. But I think as the weather looks clearing up now, maybe the water level will subside, and some of the areas that have those roads closed will maybe not fully open, because some they closed because they were damaged and it's not advisable to drive on those roads.
Yeah.
So some they will have some inconvenience to take longer to reach their place of work or to reach their home. Because they have to take the alternative measures.
Yeah, no, I'm actually looking at the forecast in the Durban area at the moment, and you're right, there's no rain forecast for the week ahead. In fact, tomorrow, temperatures are set to reach as high as 25 degrees. But very quickly, Vincent, I mean, we're also seeing concerns being raised by residents specifically in eThekwini who are flagging poor drainage systems as exacerbating the situation. Is that something you've been able to witness whilst you're busy with your recovery efforts?
I must mention that our drainage system has been among the best. The problem of which we are facing as a city, one, our infrastructure is aging, and two, when the infrastructure was built then, it was not meant for the number of communities and the number of population growth of which we have observed. So it's like it's overworked, and it can contain the amount of the debris and everything that goes to it. But over and above that, the rain that we have experienced in a couple of storms, the storm of 2017, the storm of 2019, the worst one, this one in April, it's 1 in 100 years. So that must tell you that the amount of rain of which we have received during this storm is more than what our infrastructure can manage to contain. But yes, there is a challenge with regards to our storm drainage because it cannot cope.
All right. Yeah. Vincent Ngubane, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us about what you know as of this morning. Appreciate your time. Vincent Ngubane is the head of disaster management in eThekwini. It is still quite early given just how recent the latest bout of heavy downpours in that province actually was. We'll continue watching that story as it continues to unfold.